When you have your girls, you're never alone. You get together for coffee, maybe to work out, or just to laugh. We created Hey Girl, just for you. Can't wait for you to join us.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Hey Girl. I'm Kim with an E, and this is episode 49. If you're joining us for the first time, we want to let you know that Hey Girl is a safe space where you can share your experiences and be affirmed. Listen, life can be complex and sometimes overwhelming. That's why we believe in the power of conversation, because knowing you're not alone is what helps us get through. And I'm so glad to have my girl Kim with an I with me today. Hey, Kim.
Hi, Kim. Hey, girl. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am great. I'm great. The sun is shining, so that's
I know.
always good. So, yeah,
Such a
glad to be
beautiful
back.
day.
It's
I
such a
know.
beautiful day, especially from the last couple of days. Last week that scare
Yes.
with tornadoes. Anytime I hear tornadoes coming out 4 years ago,
Yes.
everything went out. So it was a
Yep.
blessing that it didn't get bad. So,
Didn't get bad this time. Yes, this is the
yeah,
time of year for that kind of stuff. My daughter and I were
scary.
talking about how we love spring for the new life that's blooming and the sun is coming out. It's getting warmer. The days are getting longer. But the drawback is also the season for tornadoes in
Yeah,
Alabama.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a draw. Tornadoes and allergies. Every time I see those
Yes.
blooming trees, they're
Yes.
so beautiful. But I'm like, oh,
Break out the allergy medicine. Yep. Exactly. That's the drawback. But
yes,
I still prefer, you know me, I still prefer the warmer days and today is the first day of spring actually. So happy
yes, it
spring, everybody.
is. Happy spring,
Officially.
everyone. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Just take your allergy medicine, you'll be fine.
There you go.
Um,
There you go.
so who is joining us today? So good to have you guys. Be sure and say hello in the comments. Let us know
Yes.
who you are and where you're joining us from. And what's the weather like where you are? Are you getting this spring weather or is it still winter where you are? My husband said it's actually going to dip down to, I think he said the 30s tonight. But
Oh, wow.
hopefully, I know, but he said the forecasters are saying this might be the last really cold
Okay.
event that we have. Let's hope. They don't know, but the hope
Yeah,
is
they know.
be getting warmer from here on out. But let us
Yeah.
are and how the weather is if you're enjoying this spring season. And
Yes.
be sure to invite a friend to join us. We have a great show in store for you today. So like,
Yes, we
follow,
do.
share, and make sure that you let everyone know this is the place to be. I see Tanya Laughinghouse. I see Lisa James. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hello.
Who else is out there? Let us know you are here. Um,
Yes.
Also, want to remind you guys to support our small businesses that we list on our Hey Girl High Five. We mentioned that again last week. Don't want you to forget to support our people. And I mentioned last week, Kim, the company by our friends Michael and Jamie Francis, Turf Tribute.
Hmm.
I don't
Yes.
have a
Love
chance
them.
to them yet, but
Yes.
yeah, I really love what they're doing. I love that's one
Hmm.
small business that I have seen really maximize the time that we're in, right? They
Absolutely.
jumped on this whole COVID season where people are not able to have the typical parties and get-togethers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything is about doing drive-bys, and they jumped on that, and
Right.
their creativity
It
has
just
really
blossomed.
paid off.
Yeah.
Yes, and I absolutely love the signs that they do for the
I do
yard.
too. I do too. They're so personable. You could just
Yeah, you can
make
make
them
it
your own.
anything. Yeah,
I love that,
absolutely.
about
I
it.
got
So creative.
we got one done for my mom. She recently bought a new home, and we had one that
Yeah.
said, "Welcome home, mom."
Oh, I love
Literally,
that.
when she went to her new house, it was there in the yard for her. And I mean, you literally can do a sign that says just about anything from birthday,
Yes.
graduation, or anything else that you might be celebrating. So, love, love,
Yeah.
love her
Yeah.
tribute.
So kudos to them.
Kudos
Absolutely.
to Michael and Jamie. They really are doing good stuff. Yeah,
Mhm.
really
Mhm.
good. So we are, of course, celebrating Women's History all this
Yes,
month.
we
Love being able to highlight the amazing women that have moved through our society over the years and even in the
Yes.
present are doing wonderful things. And so, of course, I've been doing a lot of reading between each show. I'm always like looking to see who the next person is that I want to highlight. And I remembered that I had this book, Kim, that I found. I just stumbled upon this book about a year or
Mm-hmm.
so ago, and it's
Uh-huh.
called Grit and Grace. I don't know if you can see the cover
Ooh.
there.
Yeah. Great grace.
It's like a great coffee table book, because it's really pretty, but
Yeah.
it's common wisdom for inspiring leaders designed to make you think. And what they have actually done, the editors, they've compiled um, they have compiled information about women, all kinds of women who in all kinds of fields who have done, who are noteworthy in some way or another. And then
Mm-hmm.
they've
Mm-hmm.
captured a quote from each of them, notable quote. And what the authors said is that there are very few of all the quotes that you see floating around, the image quotes and things like that
Yeah.
that we often, post on our social media. They said
Mm-hmm.
they studied like how many of those are quotes by women, and there's like some fraction of a percent that are quotes from women. And so they were
Oh,
like, we will
wow.
put together quotes of notable women just to put more of
Yeah.
their into the atmosphere, basically. And I thought that was such
Yes. Oh, very nice.
a book has come across information about so many amazing women, many of whom I'd never heard of before. And
Mm.
so I want to tell you all about one in particular because she is really, really special. She was born in 1935, but she's still alive. Her name is Tinley Albright. She is a polio survivor, the first US woman to win a figure skating gold, and she's a surgeon and cancer researcher. I mean, talk about
Wow.
doing everything.
Yes.
Like, amazing. And they say that as a child, she had two great ambitions to become a doctor and to become an Olympic gold medalist. And, I love that because kids are always like, oh, I want to be a princess and I want to be a doctor and I want to, but it's like,
Right.
she actually did it. So her aspirations were sparked when she won her first figure skating competition. And just 4 months after her release from the hospital, having been treated for polio. So talk about overcoming odds. She worked
Yes.
both goals, getting up at 4 a.m. to train before her pre-med classes. By 1956, she had won 2 world titles, but came up short for the Olympic victory. 2 weeks before she competed in her second and final Winter Olympic Games, she tripped on the ice and cut her ankle to the bone.
Ooh.
Fighting back from the injury, though, she skated her way, stitches and all, to the top of the podium with memorable grace. So, talk about
Mm.
setback. You know what I mean? Like she had polio,
Yes.
she cut her leg to the bone. I mean, but she kept pushing, kept pushing, and she achieved her goals. She retired from skating and enrolled in medical school. One of only 5 women in her class. Brought home brought the same absolute focus she learned on the ice skating rink to the operating room as a surgeon. And today she's combining arts and sciences as the founder of MIT Collaborative Initiatives, where diverse teams take on medical social issues from childhood obesity to post-traumatic stress disorder. So I was just
Wow.
really impressed
Yes.
on
That's
so many
awesome.
levels. Yeah.
That's awesome. It's
And
amazing how many women that have so much that we contribute to this world, let alone babies. We birth children and
right.
get back to our duties in 6 weeks or less.
Yeah,
So I think
exactly.
we just have so many amazing women in their stories. Like you said, some that are well known and some that you've never heard of before,
That we should know. That we should
that we
know.
should know. Yeah.
And I love
Yeah.
her quote, which is, if you don't fall down, you aren't trying hard enough. And so
Mm,
it just speaks to, sometimes we think if we fall down, then we should just stay down. Oh,
right.
well, it's not for me. But no, that's a sign that you need to keep trying, keep
Keep
working,
going.
pushing.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
exactly what she did. So
Oh,
I think
I
that's
love that. That's amazing.
inspirational
Yeah.
and a
Very
message.
inspirational.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes. Well, I love
Yeah.
her ambition and her determination.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of ambitious, we
Yeah.
have our special guest today. Wonderful. I can't wait to hear what she has to say today. So we have Dr. Lakeisha Webb Macmillan. And Dr. Lakeisha, was born and raised in Huntsville, Alabama. She earned her undergraduate degree in biology cum laude from Oakwood College, now Oakwood University, and continued her studies at Loma Linda University School of Medicine. In addition to her academic degrees, Dr. Lakeisha is certified in the use of the Da Vinci robotic system for minimally invasive laparoscopic surgery. Okay,
Say that
that's a
3 times
mouthful right
fast.
there. I'm not doing it, Kim. I will not do that. I made it through.
You
Okay,
made it through.
I made it through that one. It's just a big word. Okay. Dr. Macmillan is a gifted speaker, OBGYN, and hormone specialist, and Amazon best-selling author. She has a passion for helping women struggling with depleting hormones get their hormones balanced, regain mental sharpness, and have energy to last the entire day. Ladies, if you I'm sorry, ladies, if you feel like your body has betrayed you, like me lately, um, let me introduce to you Dr. Lakeisha Macmillan is here to help us sort it all out. So let's welcome Dr. Lakeisha Macmillan.
Hey, welcome,
Welcome, welcome.
Dr. Lakeisha. So glad you're here.
Oh,
Yes,
thank you for having me. I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much.
yes.
Yes, we are looking forward to this conversation. I have spoken to many women over the last year, and they've been like, you need to have somebody on there talking about menopause." Like, okay, we'll make that happen. We'll make that happen.
Yes,
So
yes.
we'll talk about that amongst other things today. Tell us a little bit about what you do. So just give us some sense of what you bring to this conversation.
Oh, thank you so much for having me here, Kim with an E, Kim with an I. I am just so excited to be here on Hey Girl this afternoon. And, I like to be able to kind of start by telling my story a little bit. And most of you all know that I'm from Huntsville, Alabama, as Kim with an I said in that wonderful introduction. Thank you so much, Kim. And you did it. You got through it. I'm so
Yes, yes.
you got through that medical, right? And I grew up in Huntsville. I grew up around
Wow.
Oakwood. It was the first time I left home, y'all, was when I went to medical school. So
Wow.
I was just like, oh my goodness gracious, like a little kid, like, what in the world?
Yeah.
And I'm a Southern girl.
Here.
Oh my gosh. And I'm a Southern girl, right? So I would call home and be like, I'm coming back home. They're taking me out here. And I remember my dad going, okay, sure, they're hiring at McDonald's. Come on. What
You can come back home, but
okay, I'll study, click, that kind of thing. And so just thinking back over my journey, I was blessed to be part of a 2-parent household. That was such a blessing. And my brother and I tease all the time and say, Daddy was our biggest cheerleader. Mommy was our coach. We would run in the house and go, I want to go to the moon. And Daddy would say, sure, you can do it. Mommy would pull out the pen and paper and go, okay, what's the SOP? How are we going to do it? How are we getting there? Right? And so they would encourage us with whatever we wanted to do in life. And I remember it was around 12 years old when I had exposure to OBGYN world through my mother, actually. She was actually working at a local community center, and she was helping mothers to be, and they were having these classes, and she brought home this videotape. Y'all remember VCRs, right? You remember
yes,
things, right?
yes.
So she brought home this videotape on the miracle of life. And I sat there and I watched it, and I was like, that is the coolest thing ever. And I wanted to. And so I started talking about, I want to go to medical school. I want to be a doctor. I want to deliver babies. And so my parents were like, well, you need to find yourself around one, right? Because we're educators. What we know is how to be educators. We know how to help you to get the information, but you need to be around doctors so you know that's what you want to do.
Right.
So from the time I was around 13 all the way till I finished at Oakwood, I worked at Dr. Hicks' office in Huntsville. And it was partly his influence that got me to Loma Linda. And so I got in early acceptance, the end of my junior year. I was able to say, yes, this is where I'm going to school. Started going out there my junior year, my senior year. And if somebody were looking from the outside in, they'd be like, oh, she's checking off all these little boxes. Check, 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 right? It just seemed like, oh, Keisha's gliding along. Okay, that looks good. You know, I finished medical school, got married, and that's a whole nother story, y'all, because that's a funny little story. You know, I actually knew Wendell at Oakwood. We had biochemistry together. Y'all, I changed my seat to sit next to him because I thought he was.
Oh, wow. All right.
But I
I
couldn't get a date. So I said, let me move my seat back up to the front. Hey.
He just wasn't ready. He wasn't ready.
And he says that all the time. He's like, Keisha, if we dated back then, we wouldn't be here 19 years, 2 kids later. It just wouldn't be.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm checking off everything. Life seems like, from an outside looking in, it's just going so great, right?
Mm-hmm.
But can I share with y'all my real story?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's certain dates in our lives that we will never forget, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that date was April 2nd, 2009. That's the day when Wendell had to come to the hospital after I had finished my day of doing surgeries that morning. And I was about to go up to labor and delivery. And one of the nurses said, hey, doc, before you go up to labor and delivery, I need you to come see me. I need you to make sure you see me. And I didn't think anything of it because nurses were asking me for curbside consults all the time. When I finished my OR day, I found her and I went to her and she takes me into the pediatric holding area. And that's where Wendell was sitting. And at first I said, are you here to take me to lunch? And then I really looked at his face. And I knew something was wrong.
Oh.
And that was the day that he had to tell me that my father had passed away.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
And you all, I felt the floor literally open up from underneath me. I was in free fall, like just free fall. And that began a journey. I didn't know my left from my right. I didn't know up from down. I mean, it was just, I just was going through the motions, just getting up, going to work, taking care of my patients. You know, we had our first child by this time. We were just making sure Wendell got to daycare. We got home. We were being very cordial roommates at this time. And I knew something was starting to happen within me. Like I would go to work and I would be exhausted, just utterly exhausted. I'd come home, I'd put the covers over me. And a lot of people would say, well, that was grief. Yes, it was. But there was something else going on. And you would think that would be it. But then 10 months later, I get another phone call from my brother. And I remember that February 24th, 2010. And I remember him saying on the other line, she's not going to make it. She's not going to make it. And I'm like, who are you talking about? It was now Granny. And so in 10 months, I've lost my father and my grandmother. And life is just unraveling on both ends. And I'm just like, what is going on? I remember sitting on labor and delivery one night, and my blood pressure was 160 over 110. And the nurses were like, do you need to go to the ER? And I was like, no, I'm okay. I'm all right. And at this point, I knew I wasn't all right. I was feeling inside like something was wrong. I had no energy. I didn't want to have sex with my husband. And I kind of like that guy. He's kind of cute.
Yes.
What is the problem?
What is going on?
Right. I didn't have patience anymore with anybody. My pager would go off and I'd be like, what do you want now? Like, really?
Wow.
What do you want with me?
Something was happening.
So I knew that something had to give.
The hormones.
And girl, we're going to get to that because.
We're going to get to it.
And through my therapist, helping me to understand how to heal and how to be able to think life, I've been able to reassess things, and now I'm able to give to the world in a different way. And so that's how I now do integrative gynecology. I'm a hormone specialist. I'm a speaker. I'm an author, and I help women through my through my concierge integrative practice, through my speaking circuit and my book. I help them get their hormones balanced and help them to glide and not slam into perimenopause and menopause anymore. And so my bigger why is because I know for generations to come, we've got to help start having these conversations with the women that are behind us, with like women like my daughter, so that she can understand what's going on with her body, and she now has a voice and be able to empower her. So that's why I'm here, because we have to start these conversations, and we have to know what the options are out there for us. And so that's why we're here today.
Wow. That's good.
Yeah. Good stuff. A good introduction there.
Great introduction. And what I think about is, you were already helping women through your practice. So it was this turning point, though, in your life, this period in your life, that made you realize you needed to do more? Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Absolutely. It was, I needed to step out of the office and be able to practice medicine on my own terms. Because in the office, you have a lot of different people you have to answer to when you're in a traditional office setting. Now I can treat my ladies the way I see that they need to be treated. Now I do specialize in the ladies that are in that perimenopause and menopause phase of life, because what I've come to find is that this is when women see doctors less and they need to be seeing doctors more. It's almost like you aren't having babies anymore, so we're going to put you over here in this category. We're just going to kind of put you off to the side, but your body is changing. There are a lot of times women wake up in a body they don't even recognize anymore. And they're just like,
what is going on?
They're feeling wired but tired. Their situations really haven't changed that much, but they can't juggle they don't have any more elasticity in their rubber band, so to speak. They are this short, and they're like, look here, if somebody calls my name one more time, okay,
it's not gonna be good.
It won't be good at all. What is going on with me? Like, I don't understand this. And so that is what I really love. What I get to do is I get to be able to sit on the floor with you during this time in your health journey and give you tools so that you know what to do.
Yes, I love that. So what are the signs of pre-menopause? I mean, I started having signs at least, I would say 3 years ago, with night sweats. And I was like, what is going on here? And I was confused. I didn't know what was going on until I found out that's part of the premenopausal stage. So tell us some other signs if that's one. But yeah.
Absolutely. So perimenopause or premenopause, those are synonymous with each other, can actually start 10 years before menopause. So we start having fluctuations in our hormone levels in our early 40s, some women in their late 30s. And what we've come to find on the medical side is that I believe there's the domino that starts falling, and it's testosterone. And when your testosterone levels start falling, you actually have something called testosterone deficiency syndrome. And that's where you start having the decreased mood for it. Your mood is not right. Your motivation goes down. Them papers can stay in the corner all day long, all day strong. You just don't care. You start having brain fog. You're like, why did I come in this room again? Like, what?
Yes.
You start having the muffin top. You're like, I had a beautiful waist, or I was able to go to the gym, do what I needed to do, and see the results immediately. And now you're not getting that. And so there can be changes that are due to certain hormones that don't go as high as they used to, or are not having the levels that they used to have at all. And so perimenopause, like I said, can start in your 40s. It can be the night sweats because there can also be a difference of another hormone that helps with temperature regulation and being able to help with sleep and making sure you get restorative sleep that can happen. And so you start having these differences and you're like, wait a minute, what's going on? So if you're waking up at night because you're getting hot flashes or you're getting warm, your sleep is interrupted. So now you wake up the next day and you still feel tired and you're just like, which also can lend to more brain fog or more fatigue. So you see how you're now on this wheel and you keep going and you keep you're like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
You can have a changes in your temperature regulation is what I say. So that's where you can get these night sweats or warm surges at night. And there are some women that say, well, I only have it at night. Well, what's the problem? Well, that's part of that sleep cycle. Your temperature should be regulated so that you can get to sleep and stay asleep. And there's a whole interaction between your sex hormones and your neurotransmitters that allow that to happen. And then one of the other things that can happen is you can actually just start feeling like your skin just feels different. You can start having dry skin where you didn't have dry skin before. A lot of us can see it on our face. We're like, oh, my face is different. But if you really take stock of the entire body, sometimes your husband's touch or your partner's touch just doesn't feel the same anymore. And that could be because your estrogen levels are changing, because estrogen plays a nice role in making sure that our skin is nice and moisturized and conditioned, because it works with some of the other things that are like collagen and elastin that help our skin stay nice and supple. And then we can start having issues with having sex, with actually having it feel good to us, because we're actually having vaginal dryness, which is a decrease in some of those hormones. And so it's not as pleasurable anymore. And that can cause conflict, because now it's like, well, I can't turn you on like we used to. Well, no, it's not right. It's actually, I actually have a physiological thing going on here that is not allowing my body to do what it used to do.
Yeah.
And this conversations need to happen, because you need to be able to talk about this with your spouse so they understand what's going on with you.
Yeah.
So those are some of the symptoms that can pop up, and they can come and then they can go away, and then they can come and then they can go away. And you're like, oh, you're feeling good. Well, what can happen too is that you're actually doing things that may be supporting some of the stress pathways that are allowing them to kind of quiet down a little bit more. And so we can talk a little bit more about that. But I hope I was able to give you, I hope I answered.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. And it's so much that goes on. Like for me, experiencing like the night sweats only during my cycle time was so weird. I mean, you wake up and drenched in sweat. It's just like, oh my goodness, that type of thing. So it's just that body just changed. And then your cycle, I mean, just heavy kind of back to whenever you're a teenager. Bad cramps, heavy cycle. I mean, heavy. Until it's just draining. You can't even do anything. So yeah, those hormones are
a beast, and they take no prisoners. They take no. They're no respecter of persons. So they take all prisoners, is what I should be saying.
Right. Yeah.
So that can also happen. The characteristics of your cycle can change. So your cycles can become closer together. What do I mean by that? The interval at which you have your cycle actually becomes closer together. So when you were probably a 28-day person cycler, now you're probably a 21-day cycler, or even a 17-day cycler. And that can cause you to have an anemia, because depending on the flow of the cycle, you can be losing more blood.
Yes.
Your cycle can start, the interval can start increasing. So now you're a 38-day cycler, you're a 40-day cycler. And it's what in the world just happened? Because you had this thing down pat. There was a time in your life, you knew when it was happening, you knew how long, you knew how many tampons or pads you were going to use, you knew what you were going to wear for that amount of time. And now this joker has just changed the script. And you're like, gone.
Yeah.
What is going on? Yeah.
So all of these things are very much characteristic, and that's where you come to someone like me and we can draw blood work and see the different levels. And then everybody's situation is unique, so there's not one blanket thing that I do, and we address what's going on with you.
So I just wanted, for clarity's sake, all of that stuff that you just unloaded on us is all pre-menopause. It's before menopause even happens.
Yes,
So
Kim with the E, yes.
So is then when the actual thing occurs, does all that go away, or do we get a whole new mother load of stuff on top of what we've already been dealing with? I'm just
Great
curious.
questions, guys. Oh my gosh, yes. So this is my other soapbox issue or mission or mission statement I have. So a lot of women feel like, whew, I got through menopause. I'm finished. I got over it. I'm done.
Yeah.
And what I like for you to realize is that you're now in a new phase of life.
Mm-hmm.
So not every woman will go through hot flashes, night sweats, vaginal dryness. That is not the hallmark of menopause.
Mm-hmm.
What constitutes menopause is 12 consecutive months with no period, no cycle. And that's with people, of course, that have a uterus, that haven't had a hysterectomy. That's a whole nother discussion. So 12 consecutive months, no period. If you go 9 months and have a period, you got to start your clock over.
Start all over.
If you go 10 months and have a period, you got to start your clock over. If you go 11 months and start your period, you got to start your clock over. And this is important because if you have what we classify as postmenopausal bleeding, that's a problem. That could be pathology. That could be the uterus, and it has to be evaluated. And that's if you're not, and the other caveat is if you're not on any type of bioidentical hormone therapy or hormone therapy. So that's a whole nother big discussion. So it's not necessarily that you go through these set symptoms and it's done. What can happen is you're now, so there are some women that have symptoms that they just kind of white knuckle it through, and then they kind of go away and they just kind of settle into a new type of normal for them, or a new type of, new body. What I like for women to understand is that, yes, you're actually going into this new phase of life, and there are certain things you can do to help your body to function better and to be at optimal level for you. And so how we do that is going to be dependent on certain labs that we get and what we're actually addressing. So I know I said probably a lot and really didn't give you an answer. So
no, you did.
Menopause, I like to think of it as the menopausal phase of life. A lot of people, a lot of women like to feel like menopause is over. And the way that you actually deal with your body in this new phase can exacerbate or can ameliorate some of those symptoms that you're having.
Wow.
I'm trying to process everything you're saying.
I know.
As you can see, I love this. This is my passion. So I told y'all, you're going to probably have to do the Sandman. It's time to cut, Keisha.
No. I love it. I love it.
Fine. Okay, so one question we had, and maybe you've already kind of said this, but we typically, when we think of premenopause or anything menopausal, we think about the night sweats or the hot flashes. That's typically like the hallmark, characteristic or symptom. But just curious about the biology of hot flashes. Like, what is actually happening in your body that causes that response? Because I've had many women try to describe to me what a hot flash feels like, and there's all kinds of different descriptions of it, but it's like almost nothing you can explain. My sister-in-law said it's like this internal heat that just kind of comes out from inside.
So like this light that just started showing on my face, it just comes all of a sudden. It just comes. You said this light, and I feel all that heat right now.
Yes. Adjust your blind, Kim, because all I see is white lines on your face. But so what is that? What is going on?
So depending on when you start experiencing hot flashes, it could be the result of different hormones that are getting depleted. So for instance, most women that have perimenopausal hot flashes, and those are night sweats or night heat experiences, it could be just that, not just, but it could be that their progesterone is starting to go down. And I'm going to go back and we're going to set some foundation so that you can understand what estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone all do anyway, so that we can understand when there's a pathology in them, what can happen. So let's start out by setting that foundation. So I always tell my patients, I tell my ladies when I'm speaking, think of your period as grass growing. So estrogen is the hormone that makes the grass grow tall, getting ready for an egg to come plop down on the grass. Progesterone's in charge of the lawnmower. It waits around for a signal and it says, hey, was there an egg fertilized this month? Nope. Okay, guys, good. We can mow the lawn. Depending on how high the grass is will be how heavy the flow. And then testosterone is kind of around doing some things too, of course, making sure that you have a libido or a sex drive. And it also helps with recruiting the egg, making sure that your egg quality is good and all that good stuff. So what happens, and then progesterone, I always jump to the kumbaya hormone because it has some other jobs. So progesterone actually goes over to our adrenal glands, which is the stress pathway, and says, hey, does she need some help, calming down? And the adrenals say, yes. Can you give us some of your fuel? And it says, yes, I'll do that. And then it also goes over to the brain, to the neurotransmitters, especially serotonin, and says, hey, does she need help getting to sleep? And serotonin says, yes, she can't turn this brain off. So progesterone says, I got you. I'm going to help her get to sleep. And then testosterone comes in and plays tag team and makes sure you have restorative sleep. So that's kind of the basis of where we have to go from. Now knowing that, okay, this is what they do, they all also play a role in like temperature control. So this is where it gets tricky because you can start having the warm flashes at night because your progesterone's too low to help with the night cycles. You can also have some problems at night because your testosterone's too low. And so you have problem with the temperature cycles as well. Now, when you have those heat, and those can possibly tend to be maybe kind of like from the face up or feeling like the whole body is kind of like, ooh, I just got kind of warm and ooh, woke up, and kind of like something happened with your temperature regulation for the night. Now, when it comes to estrogen's control of our temperature, this is where you get that like full on, just like it's a personal summer. It kind of starts at your core and it just goes, okay? So estrogen, when it starts getting depleted, those are the hot flashes that most women know about, where they're in that boardroom meeting, they're in their C-suite, they are dressed to the nine, and then all of a sudden they're just like, break out. Just what just happened, did y'all feel that? And that is usually because estrogen is decreasing. So they're different different types of hot flashes. A lot of women just call them out and they happen out of the blue. It's like this thing that can just happen. What I've come to find is that our diet can play a big role in exacerbating or helping to ameliorate some of those symptoms. So when I talked to some of my ladies and they were telling me, hey, when I decrease my processed sugar, oh my goodness, I don't have hot flashes as much. When I get my water intake, when I'm making sure I'm getting the right amount of water for that day, my hot flashes go away. When I'm exercising, when I'm doing the right types of exercises for myself, my hot flashes are less intense and they're less frequent. So those are the things that we talk about that can actually help to keep those symptoms at bay. And then, of course, going to a doctor and talking about your options, which I talk about is having the option of bioidentical hormones on board.
So I wanted to the comments real quick. Kieta Walker Parker says, great info. I don't know if I'm not sure. She's not sure if she's pre or in postmenopause. The experience all mentioned except night sweats and hot flashes for years. 20 plus, she says. At almost 53, my cycles are horrendous. Regular, mainly, but now 2 to 3 months in between. So she's kind of like, so confusing. There's like a lot going on.
Yeah. And like peri-menopause phase. If you are still having a period and you have not gone 12 consecutive months, you are not in menopause yet.
Not in menopause. Okay. Yeah. So I often thought that, menopause is for older women. Okay. Until I got in my 40s and started, having some issues there. And so what would you say would be the average age typically that they begin the pre-menopausal stage versus menopause? What are the ages?
Right. So menopause, the textbooks say 52 to 54. But we always tell you, if you have access to your family history and are able to talk to your mothers, your grandmothers, ask them, because you'll more than likely follow their path.
Okay.
If your mother or your grandmother's had hysterectomies and they don't really know, that's kind of one of those nebulous areas, then you're kind of, stuck with seeing how your body is actually going to work and what's going to happen for you. So perimenopause can actually start around 40, 41 and can last all the way through your 40s until you go into menopause at 52 to 54. I'm starting to see more women going into full-blown menopause where they don't have a period for that 12 consecutive months. Mainly in that 55, 56 range is where I'm starting to see it more. I'm starting to have more women, come to me for, strategy sessions to see what's going on, mainly in their 40s. So they're about 41, 42. Part of my story, if I could even be more transparent with y'all today, is that I was 41 when I decided to get my own labs checked. It was around that time where everything was going on, and I was like, something's wrong. This is not right. I really need to figure out what's going on. And I had no measurable testosterone. Like, it didn't even get into the little bit of the reference range. It was like, and this, and I was like, oh, no wonder I feel this way. I was like, oh my gosh. I remember calling Wendell and going, I know what's wrong with me, and I'm so excited.
Knowing is half the battle, right?
Okay. And so for me, I am on a bioidentical testosterone cream is what I've decided to do. And it has made a difference. Like my energy was better. My mood was better. Sleep, I finally got, because I was blaming it on the kids a lot.
Right.
I was like, oh, the kids are still not sleeping through the night. And I was like, no, yes, they are. Like, what's the problem? It's you. So doing that, and then also taking care of my adrenal glands. So we haven't even touched about the adrenal glands. That's your stress pathway in your body. And when the stress pathway is on high alert, it hijacks everybody else, because its main job is to keep you alive. And if it's like getting a signal that says, oh, wait, we've got to make sure she stays alive. Why have sex, have fun, reproduce? Shut that down. And so it starts hijacking the sex hormone system. It starts hijacking the thyroid system too. And so its main purpose, keeping you alive, it needs more calories. It needs more storage. So it tends to store. So it'll hold on to all your calories. It will make your sex hormones go down. You won't feel like you're yourself. You'll just be like, what is going on? And so another lab that I looked at to give me an insight into my adrenal health was just... It was bad too. So things that are restorative practices, I've come to find, really do help to get you balanced in all the areas.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned some of the things that you decided to do for yourself. And we had a viewer who wanted to know, she says, what can help us get through the curse of menopause? She said, I've been taking over-the-counter estrogen from Walmart. She said it helps. What do you think about that? She's curious about your opinion about the options that women have when they're dealing with this stuff.
So when it comes to over-the-counter preparations, I always say make sure you run it by your hormone specialist, because it could be that it's not giving you enough of what you need. And so it's not that you can't take any of those, but you want to make sure if what you're taking is actually going to help you out.
Right.
So, do it on your own, in other words.
Exactly.
The direction
you really need another set of eyes, because my other thing is, yes, let's take the boogeyman out of hormones. Let's not make it so big, bad, and ugly. And making sure that you understand that hormones are needed and necessary, and with the right direction, they can be tremendous for you. But of course, whenever I come on shows, whenever I do my own platforms, I'm always like, yes, I'm a doctor, but I'm not your doctor. So make sure that you go and get your doctor to look at things. If they're not comfortable giving you hormones, find somebody that will, so that they can look at your medical history, because we need to know what's going on inside your body so we know how to best help you. Because there's some over-the-counter preparations for progesterone. There's some supplements that can actually help your body if you're still in perimenopause and not, the ovaries haven't totally shut down yet, can kind of help things out. But you need somebody to help you understand how this all comes together and plays nicely together in the sandbox.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So can you talk about, sorry, Kim.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to ask her to talk a little bit, because we're almost out of time, about some of the things that you do. You talk about therapeutic options and other maybe natural things that women can try. What are some of the things that you suggest and that you provide perhaps to help women?
Sure. So when I look at natural things, when somebody asks me that, I know that they're probably asking about vitamins, right? They're like, well, what kind of vitamins can I take that can actually help me make more of this? And again, this is where I need to know where you're starting. So I don't necessarily just give out blanket statements, but I know that every adult right now, especially right now, since we're all emerging from 2020 and COVID and all this, we all need an adrenal support vitamin. And the reason I say adrenal support is because you want to give the adrenals what they want, what they need, so they'll leave everybody else alone. And so the adrenals love adaptogenic herbs like ashwagandha, rhodiola, L-theanine, vitamin B, some of the vitamin Bs, vitamin C. So there are blends out there that are for the adrenals that you can take that can actually help you in the adrenal pathways that can subsequently help to make sure that you're getting what you need, so that it doesn't steal from the sex hormone pathways. Now, when I look at somebody, I'm going through the labs and I have to look at their history, their medical history, and make sure that they are a candidate. I actually, go into the world of bioidentical hormones. And that is where we look at hormones that look just like what your body used to make. It could be estrogen, it could be progesterone, it could be testosterone, whichever one of those, or a combination of the three that you need to be able to get you back in balance. I also look at your thyroid, because again, those big pathways need to work together so that you can be in balance. So the other thing I also talk about is restorative practices. And people go, okay, what are you talking about, Dr. Lakeisha? Restorative practices. These are things that fill your cup, because they dampen down the sympathetic nervous system, which is that fight or flight system or freeze system. And it helps to support your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest, digest, restore system. So here's something I want you guys to do very quickly with me that I do with my patients, and I give it to them. It is called alternate nostril breathing. And what this is, it's a way to literally rewire the brain really quickly. It's able to send a message that says, everything's okay, and we can then move on to the next. So take your dominant hand. I'm right-handed. You're going to meditate with your pointer or index and your thumb. You're going to take your thumb and you're going to put it over that nostril that's in front of it. You're going to breathe in through the opposite nostril. You're going to close it off, open up the other one, and breathe out. Now breathe in through that one. Close it off, open up the other one, and breathe out. Let's do it again. Breathe in, close it off, open up the other one, and breathe out. Breathe in, close it off, open up, and breathe out. Now you can just breathe in and out like you normally would. And I don't know about y'all, but I can do that 3 or 4 times, and literally my shoulders will relax.
Yeah. That's so interesting how that, yeah. Actually so good.
It
does. Pull out a yoga mat. You don't have to go and get in your car and go to a gym. You can literally do this before you walk into another room, before you have to deal with whoever you have to deal with. If you're trying to process something, So what that did was it literally gave oxygen to your brain. It helped to support some of the neurotransmitters, which also have a synergistic effect with the sex hormones. And it actually has another talking mechanism to the adrenals, which says, she's good, everything's okay, we're good.
I love that.
Okay. And so the other things that I look at too is having intentional meditation times. You know, we're people of faith, and we talk about prayer. So, you know, prayer could be your meditation, or just sitting, standing, laying down, or movement. Those are the 4 postures of meditation. I've learned that my meditation is actually moving meditation, is where I actually feel better because of the wiring of my ADHD brain. And my meditation and mindset coach had to help me understand that, and that it's okay. Everybody's stuff is going to look different, right? So doing restorative practices, getting someone on your health team, curating the right people on your healthcare team are going to help you in this new phase of life.
I love that. You know, last we had Juliet on. She's a counselor and social worker, and she said breathing is one of the most restorative things you can do. It's like breathing.
Yes.
I mean, we do that all the time, but she's like, no, like that intentional breathing. So interesting that you are saying the same thing.
Absolutely.
I mean, medical perspective.
We don't. It's so funny because, you know, we probably do it as mothers and don't realize it. You know, before we launch into somebody, before we get them,
take a deep breath.
Take a breath and go, okay.
Oh boy.
You don't understand what that was doing. That was actually saving somebody's life. Okay. And
absolutely.
And so when we realize what breathing does, and we're talking about that deep breathing, not necessarily the shallow breathing that we do all day. And we have all these wonderful devices, the smart watches, the smartphones. I mean, I have a smart watch that would tell me, oh, breathe. And I'd be like,
right.
Oh, I know.
You know, take a deep breath and literally let that infuse in your body, because you're delivering oxygen to the blood. And now that blood, now the oxygen's gotten on the bus. I call the little red blood cells the bus. They've gotten on the bus. And now they're riding through and getting delivered to all the different organ systems. And your organ systems are saying, thank you. I needed this, because oxygen helps me to repair cells. Oxygen helps me to fight off the bad guys, which are all these free radicals running around making us look old and just regins. So this is another thing that it's doing for us.
Yes. And I actually recently, within a couple of months, started doing hot yoga. And I tell you, just get into it, breathing. I absolutely love it.
Yes. Love it.
Yeah. Great. That is great. Well, we are out of time. So I want you to real quick. I know it always goes by so fast. But just tell us really quickly where to find you, because clearly this subject cannot be covered in an hour. So they need to know, all the women who are watching, how they can find you to access this information and more for themselves, especially since each of us is an individual, right? And we probably have very different experiences. So what would you like everyone to know about what you offer before we have to say goodbye? I know you've written a book. And so what else?
Yes. So actually, you can follow me on all social media platforms at Dr. Lakeischa MD. That's DrLakeischa MD. And you can find my links to my book if you're on Instagram. Just go to the link in the bio, and you can actually go to purchase the book, The Other PMS. You can buy it in bulk, or you can buy it as an individual book. There's also, I've just also released a mini course, 7-day video mini course, The Birds, the Bees, and Bioidenticals. You can go to hormonehottiesminicourse.com and you can grab your course there. You can also join one of my VIP groups. If you're on Clubhouse, you can find the club at Hormone Hotties. That's the club on Clubhouse. or you can join the private Facebook group Hormone Hotties over there. And you go to hormonehotties.co, and that'll take you to the Facebook group, and you can join there. There are a couple questions, and then we having fun over there. Now, I usually offer a free strategy session, but I'm booked all the way up until the end of May. So when April comes up, then June is going to open up. So you guys just have to kind of watch out for me there. And that link is in the bio on IG as well.
And also you had mentioned that there's a quiz that women can take to kind of just see where they are on this spectrum. And
yes,
so that's something that's easy to kind of do real quick, right?
Absolutely. It's just a couple of questions there that'll kind of help get you to understand where you are. You can go to hormonequiz.co. That's hormonequiz.co and grab your free quiz and see where you are. See what's going on with you.
Good stuff. Thank you so much, Dr. Lakeisha. This was rich.
It was, and much needed. Much needed.
Thank you so much for letting me come on and be a part of the Hey Girl community today.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes.
So we'll say goodbye to you now. And ladies, I hope that this has been helpful for you. I know that it's been very educational for me. I'm definitely excited about all that Dr. Lakeisha is doing and all the great information that she is making available to all of us. So I hope that you take advantage of it and benefit from it, because it's, she's doing a good work.
Yes, some good information. I've been waiting for this day to get some information from her. So that's wonderful. Awesome.
All the women who've been asking for it, I hope you're listening. I hope you took notes. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at our scripture for today before we say goodbye?
Yes. We always have to end with a perfect scriptures for today's topic. So the first scripture for today is, if I can see, the sun is really on my face right now. Okay.
Shining down on you.
He is shining down. Yes, he is. Okay. This is from First Corinthians 15:44. As surely as there are physical bodies, there are spiritual bodies, and our physical bodies will be changed into spiritual bodies. And our next scripture is Proverbs 31:16-17. She considers a field and buys it. With the fruit of her hand, she plants a vineyard. She dresses herself with strength and makes her arm strong. And our last scripture for today is 1 Corinthians 6:20. God paid a great price for you, so use your body to honor him. Amen. I love that.
Yeah. As I was reading those scripture and thinking about our topic for today, I was like, this is, our bodies may feel as though they are betraying us as we get older. But thank the Lord, we have resources. And if you listen to what Dr. Lakeisha said, our bodies actually are designed to benefit us and to keep us alive and to keep us moving forward and healthy and strong. Right. And so it's just a matter of getting it back into balance so that, when we go through those periods of time when our body is changing,
absolutely,
it's just knowing how to adjust and get it back in balance, because it's already designed perfectly by our God.
Already. Yeah. And I look at it also like, as women, we birth babies. We grow a human in our bodies. Hey, that right there alone, a full human being. So for that, that alone, I think it's awesome. Our body was designed for it. Our body was designed for that.
Yeah. So I think that what we've learned today should let us know not to necessarily hate what happens at the end of our life, but to appreciate it for what it is, because she really kind of puts down what's happening. And, once you understand what's going on, then you can do whatever you need to do to get through it. But it's for, everything is for a purpose, right? Even when it's painful and hard, it all serves a purpose.
Yeah. I still enjoy being a woman. I love being a woman. That's all I can say. Even with its other things, but I enjoy being a woman. In spite of it all.
We are fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yes. Even those darn night sweats, I still feel that way.
Oh my gosh. Well, I love that you said you still love being a woman. This is Women's History Month. It's all about being a woman and celebrating all aspects of womanhood. And so that's
Yes.
perfect for what we've been talking about. And we're going to continue this conversation next week. Actually, we have one more week of this emphasis on women. And we have another health professional coming to talk to us next week, Dr. Haynes. She's going to talk
Yes.
to us about our skin and keeping our
Yes.
skin clear and
Yes.
beautiful.
Yeah.
So definitely looking forward to what she
That's
has
going to be
to say.
awesome. Yeah. She's my dermatologist, so I cannot wait to see her.
Yeah, so you can
Yeah.
attest to what she's capable of.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait. So I hope that you all will join us as well. Like I said, like, follow, and share a friend. We will always have good stuff in store for you, so you don't want to miss it. So we'll see you next time.
All
God
right.
bless. Bye, Kim. Bye.
Thanks for watching Hey Girl. Be sure to join us next week as we continue celebrating Women's History Month with guest Dr. Stacey Haynes, dermatologist from Birmingham, Alabama. She will share with us how to stay beautiful.